from 1996, and they know they did it.
Yeah, no, certainly we are.
They're not only ugly on the outside, but they're ugly on the inside. They crashed my family in this. They did my daughter first. They did my son. Then they just did my wife the last day. What's his name told me about these. David Westbrook told me about these dudes. He said they're not only ugly on the outside, but they ugly on the inside too. These two dudes right here.
You ever heard the saying, karma's B? Well, Keefe D might be learning that lesson the hard way. This guy's been running his mouth for years about Tupac's murder, acting like he's some kind of gangsta celebrity. But now, he's rotting in a jail cell and not doing so well. So, did Keefe's big mouth finally write a check his old bones can't cash? Let's dive into why Keefe D might have just sealed his own fate and how this could change everything we thought we knew about Tupac's unaliving.
He got out and came and shook my hand. What up, big dog?
Suge Knight.
Yeah. That's why I didn't understand why it was they jump on my nephew the next day. I was stupid.
Okay, so he came up to you, he shook his hand.
Shook my hand. What up, big dog? What you doing? You know? And all the bitches, because all the bras was around him, and so they like, who the f is this dude? He must be powerful. You know what I'm saying? Everybody must have looked at it like that. Damn, he just came out of the crowd just to shake this dude in.
So, word on the street is that Keefe's not exactly living his best life in prison. In fact, rumor has it he's fading fast, and some new evidence might just be the final nail in his coffin. But before we get into all that drama, let's take a trip down memory lane and break down this whole crazy situation. Let's go back to September 7th, 1996, in Las Vegas. The city's buzzing with energy after the Mike Tyson fight, and everyone who's anyone is out painting the town red. Tupac's right in the middle of it all, riding high and living large. He's on top of the world, thinking nothing can touch him. But little did he know, trouble was brewing just around the corner. Enter Keefe D and his crew. Now, these guys weren't exactly BFFs with death row records to begin with. There was already some bad blood between them. You know how it is in the rap game. But things were about to go from bad to worse real quick. So Keefe and his boys are hanging out at the MGM Grand, probably feeling pretty good about themselves. But then, they spot Orlando Anderson, that's Keefe's nephew by the way, getting the beatdown of his life from Tupac, Suge Knight, and their crew. Talk about being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
The Tupac Vegas incident, why was y'all in Vegas in the first place?
Come to the fights. We was going to the fights before the rappers. Before Suge even had a record company. We've been going to the fight since like 88, 89. Yeah. Come down there for the big fights.
So did y'all have tickets to that fight?
Yeah.
Y'all did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Got them from my little scapper partner. Scapper. Matter of fact, I was in Tracy with him. He was from Rolling 60s. Little twin dude, he's a scapper.
Now here's where things start to get really interesting. Keefe claims he was just chilling, having a nice dinner with his homies when he heard about the beatdown. Sounds innocent enough, right? Wrong. Get this, one of the guys at dinner was none other than Eric Von Zip Martin. Ring any bells? It should cause Von Zip was Diddy's right-hand man, his go-to guy for all things street. And apparently, Von Zip decided to drop a bombshell right there at the dinner table. He tells Keefe that there's $1 million bounty on Tupac and Suge's heads. Can you imagine? $1 million to take out two of the biggest names in hip-hop. That's some serious cash, and you know it got Keefe's attention real quick.
There was the rumor that after Pac got killed, Puffy gave Zip $1 million that was supposed to be handed over, and Zip ended up keeping it. And I remember when I interviewed TK Kirkland, who was actually roommates with Zip at one point. They were that close. He actually said, yeah.
The Fed said that too.
He said that actually happened.
So now Keefe's got a decision to make. Does he just let the beatdown slide, or does he go after that sweet, sweet bounty money? Well, if you know anything about Keefe D, you can probably guess what he decided to do. Keefe and his crew hop in a white Cadillac and start cruising around Vegas, looking for Tupac. Now, they didn't know exactly what car Pac and Suge were in, so they're just driving around hoping to spot them. Talk about a needle in a haystack.
The story that has circulated was that after Tupac got killed, Puffy allegedly gave the money.
I heard
to Zip.
Yes.
And Zip was supposed to give the money to Keefe and them.
Yes.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire, a murder for hire. So thank God, if this is a true story, I'm not saying yes or no, but if he would have gave them the money, it'd have been a murder for hire and Puffy would be locked up.
But then fate steps in. Keefe spots Tupac hanging out of a car window, talking to some ladies and inviting them to the club. Big mistake, Pac. Big mistake. Keefe and his boys start following Tupac's car, just waiting for the right moment to strike. They catch up to Pac and Soog at a red light, and that's when all hell breaks loose. According to Keefe, it was his nephew Orlando who pulled the trigger. He leaned over, aimed the gun, and fired 4 shots into Tupac's car. Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been? Pac tried to dodge the bullets, jumping into the back seat, but he didn't stand a chance. He was hit 4 times, once in the arm, once in the thigh, and twice in the chest. One of those bullets went straight into his right lung. It was bad, really bad. Now, there's been this rumor going around for years that Soog used Tupac as a human shield during the shooting, but Keefe says that's total BS. According to him, Soog's first instinct was to protect his own head and body. I mean, can you blame the guy? When bullets start flying, it's every man for himself, right?
When somebody's shooting at you, your first reaction is not to get a description of them, but to take cover, duck. After
the shooting, Tupac was rushed to the hospital. He fought hard for 5 days, but in the end, it was just too much. On September 13th, 1996, at 4:03 p.m., Tupac Shakur was pronounced dead. The world lost one of the greatest rappers of all time, all because of some stupid beef and a bounty. Now you'd think that after doing something like that, Keefe and his crew would be laying low, right? Nope. These guys went out drinking right after the shooting. Can you believe it? They're out there partying while Tupac's fighting for his life in the hospital. Talk about cold-blooded.
My little homie, we had some little homies out here selling work, kilos. They like, man, we know what them gonna be. They gonna be at the 662 Club. They've been advertising this all week. They gonna perform this night. So we went up there, and my little homies, when he got the choppers, and Mob James talking about he's seeing us back there. He lucky he didn't see us. We didn't see him. You know what I'm saying? They lucky they didn't show up. You know what I'm saying? So we had some headhunters with us, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they lucky they didn't show up. 3 choppers, it would have been a massacre, you know?
But here's where Keefe made his big mistake. Instead of keeping his mouth shut about what happened, he just couldn't resist bragging about it. Over the years, he's given interviews, written a book, and basically told anyone who would listen about his involvement in Tupac's death. Talk about snitching on yourself. Fast forward to today, and Keefe's finally facing the music. He's sitting in a jail cell, looking at some serious time for his alleged role in Pac's unaliving. And let me tell you, he is not taking it well at all. In a recent court appearance, Keefe straight up lost it. He was there for a hearing about getting released on bail, but things took a wild turn real quick.
Him being a notorious gang leader, that shouldn't deter the court from allowing him to be free. He was a notorious gang leader in 2008. Those days are long gone. He was a law-abiding citizen for many years here in Las Vegas. And so he should be able to go back and again tell those stories. We are not protecting the public from anything.
Turns out prosecutors have some new evidence that's got Keefe shook to his core. Get this, they found boxes of evidence containing a 2006 interview with a gang member who apparently snitched on Keefe. This interview happened 2 whole years before Keefe ever confessed to anything. Talk about a plot twist. It's like something straight out of a TV crime drama, but this is real life, folks. Keefe's not happy about these boxes showing up out of nowhere. He thinks they came from Greg Kading, a retired LAPD detective who interviewed him way back when about Biggie's death. Remember, Keefe spilled the beans to Kading thinking he had immunity. Big mistake. Huge.
It's been so many years. Why hasn't this case been solved?
Well, if you were to ask me, I would say it is solved. I would say that it's solved but unprosecuted. So this is one of the murder books.
In court, Keefe was going off, saying the claims were ugly. He's clearly losing it, realizing that his big mouth might have finally gotten him into more trouble than he can handle. The judge wasn't having any of Keefe's drama, though. She shut down his bail request real quick. She's worried about who's really putting up the cash for his bail and doesn't want Keefe profiting off the crime. I mean, can you imagine? This guy potentially making money off of Tupac's death while he's waiting for trial? That's just wrong on so many levels. But here's the kicker. Keefe's lawyer says there's no law stopping him from cashing in until he's actually convicted. Talk about adding insult to injury. It's like, not only did this guy allegedly help unalive one of the greatest rappers of all time, but now he might get to profit off it too. The audacity.
Right now, his son, myself, even he can enter into a contract with any media entity and make money on this case.
Now, it's crazy to think about how long this case has been going on. I mean, some of y'all watching this video might not have even been born when Tupac was killed, but his music and his legacy live on, and people are still fighting to get justice for him. And let's not forget about all the other players in this crazy story. What about Orlando Anderson, the guy who allegedly pulled the trigger? Well, he denied being involved right up until the day he died. Yep, you heard that right. Orlando was killed in an unrelated shooting in Compton in May 1998. Talk about karma, huh? Then there's DeAndre Big Dre Smith, the other backseat passenger in the Cadillac. He also kept his mouth shut about the whole thing. But unlike Orlando, Big Dre died of natural causes in 2004. At least he didn't go out in a blaze of gunfire, right? The getaway driver, Terrence Bubble Up Brown, took denial to a whole new level. This guy straight up said he wasn't even in Vegas the weekend Tupac was killed. But here's the thing, Orlando Anderson was caught on tape at the MGM, and Keefe admitted to being there.
Just 3 days after the awards, Tupac and others attack an LA gang member in a hotel lobby after a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas. Believed to be in response to an earlier assault against someone affiliated with Death Row, the attack will land Death Row head Suge Knight in jail, and according to some police reports, lead to Tupac being shot less than 3 hours later.
So Bubble Up's story doesn't exactly hold water. Karma caught up with him too, though. He was found shot dead at a rundown legal high shop in Compton in September 2015. Guess the streets have a way of dealing with their own, huh? And what about Suge Knight, the big bad boss of Death Row Records? Well, he's still keeping his mouth shut tight about what went down that night, but he's got his own problems to deal with. Suge is currently serving a 28-year prison sentence for running over and killing a Compton businessman outside a burger stand in January 2015. Talk about a fall from grace. Now, let's circle back to Keefe. This guy's story is like a lesson in what not to do if you're involved in a high-profile crime. I mean, he wrote a whole book about his involvement in Tupac's death. He did interviews with BET, DJ Vlad, and even went on his mama's podcast talking about it. Like, dude, have you never heard of the right to remain silent? But here's the thing, even though Keefe's been running his mouth for years, his story's got more holes in it than Swiss cheese. For example, he claims he saw Pac and Suge the day before the shooting, but that's impossible because Pac and Suge flew into Vegas on the same day Pac was shot. So either Keefe's got his dates mixed up or he's straight up lying. And let's talk about this so-called bounty on Tupac and Suge. $1 million sounds like a lot of money, right? But think about it, if you're Diddy and you're really trying to take out your biggest rivals, wouldn't you make sure the job got done right? The whole thing sounds fishy to me. But even with all these inconsistencies, the police seem to believe at least some of what Keefe's saying. They've confirmed that he was around the crime scene on the day Pac died. And let's be real, none of Keefe's critics have said he wasn't there. They know he was, and they know he was the final catalyst for the series of events that led to Pac's murder. So now Keefe's sitting in jail, probably regretting all those times he couldn't keep his mouth shut. He's facing a possible lifetime behind bars, and from the sounds of it, prison life isn't treating him too well. Some people are saying he's dying fast in there, but who knows if that's true or just more gossip. One thing's for sure though, Keefe's in a world of trouble. With this new evidence coming to light, his chances of getting out of this mess are looking slimmer by the day. And you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's time for Tupac's family, friends, and fans to finally get some closure. Now y'all know the fans always keep it real in the comments, and this Keefe D situation has got everyone fired up. One person hit the nail on the head, saying, "Imagine bragging about killing someone and then fighting to stay out of prison for the killing. Insane." For real though, it's like Keefe thought he could just run his mouth for years and never face the consequences. Talk about delusional. Another comment that really struck a chord was, "It truly burns me to know that someone this stupid killed Tupac, one of the most influential and iconic rappers that ever lived. R.I.P. Tupac." Ain't that the truth? It's heartbreaking to think that someone as talented and impactful as Pac could be taken out by a dude like Keefe D. It just doesn't seem fair, does it? But here's one that had people laughing and shaking their heads at the same time. Bro, it's always crazy to see these tough OG grow into old black men who couldn't harm a fly. Y'all, the accuracy. Keefe was out here acting like he was the baddest gangsta on the block. And now look at him, just another old man facing the music for his past mistakes. These comments really show how Keefe's actions have affected people, even all these years later. It's not just about the legal consequences anymore. It's about the impact on Tupac's legacy and the hip-hop community as a whole. But here's a question for you. Do you think Keefe D is the only one who should be facing justice for Tupac's death? What about all the other players in this crazy story? And what about the people who allegedly put out the bounty in the first place? Should they be held accountable too? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this whole mess. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the latest developments in this wild case.